Okay guys, flying off the seat of my pants. Don't have my tripod, not going to get my tripod. Figure I'll record this because it's a customer saw and we've discussed it. He's a neighbor. He's pretty cool. I don't know why I call them customers. This isn't really a official business. I'm just a guy in a shed that likes working on saws and knows how to work on saws. And so it's a skill I can use to barter and trade for the things I need because food's getting so expensive. And I never like buying it at the grocery store anyways. Okay, so what we got going on is, I'll flip you over real quick. Husqvarna 288 XP has a plug for a decom valve. And so we're going to put a decom valve in it. Problem is, the cover is not set up for the decon valve. And we don't want to just put a big gaping hole in there because we want all this enclosed as best we can and sealed up. We don't want any more dust and debris getting, especially back here. This Tillotson carb doesn't have a grommet on the bottom of it. And so the hole in the bottom of the carb for the impulse is just a hole. And so these carbs, that's why older saws, the carbs gunk up and dust up easy because you get all kinds of fines in there. And so essentially we're using a steel decon valve. And I say steel, by that I mean the setup. The steels are a little longer, and the reason is the ones that are typically in Husqvarna with the flat head, this one I don't think is going to be long enough. You wouldn't be able to reach into the plastic. Now this one's going to stick out of the plastic when it's decompressed. Okay, so that is engaged. When we want to start the saw, we're going to push it in. And how one of these actually works, you guys, is you can see, I'll show you real quick. You can see how that's open to allow air to pass through, and that lowers the compression for the starting. And then when it's out, it's closed up, okay, sealed up. And so when we go to start the saw, we push it in, and it opens up. And then when we want to, when we go to pull the cord, it's going to pop out. A lot of these have a two-stage. It'll pop about halfway. And then when the saw actually runs, there's enough compression to push it out. This is a two-stage. This is a three-stage. See if you can hear it. It's pushed in. One click out. And then it pops out even all the way. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this one, when he goes to start his saw, we'll do this the first pull. And then depending on the level of compression at this point, sometimes it'll pop right back out on your second pull, and sometimes it won't. But he'll push it in, and it'll usually pop out there. And then when it starts completely at maximum, it'll push it all the way out. The compression causes it, forces it to close. So if you think about it, it's pushing, all the air is pushing on that, and it pushes it closed. And also the way these are designed inside, as air goes through here, it's also helping push that closed. The way it is, it's kind of like a check valve, so to speak, like that inside there, here in the middle, and that also helps the pressure push it closed. Okay, so basically flying by the seat of my pants, and I thought you guys can hang out if you want and watch me potentially mess this up. This is a really cool guy, so if I do mess this up, because I mean it's not something I typically do every day, and even though it is, it's not like there's a service manual or a handbook for this. So I am going to flip you guys back around because I want you guys to be able to see. So everything's going to be backwards in this video. What you're doing is basically you're looking in a mirror now because it's my front facing camera. So what I've done is I really don't want to mess this up. I really want to respect this guy's saw. He cuts firewood for his family, and so he needs his saw, and he doesn't really care what it looks like, but I care about fines and stuff getting in there, and I care about it being in the wrong place. And so I'm a carpenter by trade also, and so I know about finding centers and stuff and circles and whatnot. Sometimes I really have to think, but so I just took my calipers, and basically what I did is I took his saw first, and I took a carpenter's tool, a speed square, and I just set it on here. And now this doesn't have any kind of fancy curves or nothing. It's an old school saw, and so we're trying to get close at this point. Okay, and I leveled down, or squared down 90 degree, and I marked this side of the valve. And then on this side, what I did was I had to go this way, but I also know the length, so I measured over. I know I need to be, this is a half-inch diameter on this circle here, and the diameter is the distance from one side of the circle to the other. Okay, so I measured that down here, and then I just kind of did that because I don't want to have to take the handle off, and you see you can't quite get in there. I can get very close. Oh, you know what? I guess I could have at that angle, and it's right where it should be. But it also dips off over here. So anyways, then I just want to, double and triple check. They say measure twice, cut once. Well, I'm measuring like 16 times on this thing because it's not mine. If it was mine, I probably would have got in a hurry and screwed it up by now. But it's not mine. So, and I really respect this guy. And so I want to take care of his saw. This is an old saw, and he knows what he has. He knows he has a 288 XP, but for this guy, this is not a... It's a workhorse in a way, but it's not a workhorse out in the woods. He's cutting firewood for his family. He needs his saws to be reliable, and sometimes he's cutting some really big wood, so he's got to have a big saw, and then he's got to have a saw for when he's tired, because he's old like me. And then so what I did here is I took my caliper, and I'm not even looking at the numbers, really. I'm just keeping it where it is, and I went from the absolute dead center of my bolt hole here in the back. And then now on a lot of these, this hole will be worn, and within a 1/16 of an inch, I don't think is going to matter too much. I'm not even going to be that far off, but a 32nd of an inch, a little bit of play. But you can essentially hold your bolt and measure exactly from the center of your bolt. But I went from the center of the hole because it's so close. And then I marked my cover down here. And I did that for both sides. And then I just went from this bolt hole on my frame and on my box, my cover here, from the other one, just to kind of verify measurement, and that was good. And so then what I did is I took my square to get a measurement here, okay, from the bottom of my decom valve to the top of my decom valve, and I know it's a 1/2 inch, and so then, just to be even more accurate, I took my tape measure, and I checked it from the base here, and made sure it was the same, and so then I verified that I knew where the center of my hole was as well. And so essentially then I measured up from my marks, and then I've also put a square on this cover, because even though it's curved a little bit, we're going by what did we do on the body. That's what's going to help us line it up. And so if I set my square on the body to get these marks, and then I squared up, and then I've established my square here, you can see, but we're not doing a square. We want to do a circle. Since this thing sticks out, we're hoping it'll stick out enough to be able to grab it without having to have finger room in there. And so now I've got my center, and I just started my pilot hole, and then decided, boy, I didn't take no before pictures, and so I might as well just take a video. And then hopefully, if somebody else has this saw or something similar, they see how we did it. And then you're on your way. Okay, so I'm going to start a pilot hole. Now, I probably could go smaller, but again, you guys, this does not have to be excessively precise. We just want it precise. And so I've got my center, and so I'm starting. I think this is like a, I don't know, a 5/16 bolt, 5/16 drill bit. I don't remember. It's just one I use common for drilling random pilot holes for stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to drill that. I started it. Not in any kind of rush, and then I'm just going to step this up, because we've got to go all the way from this to this, and we don't want to chip the plastic and tear the plastic. So we want this hole to be nearly this big when we put this thing in with these big gaping valleys in the bit. It'd just chunk that plastic all up and probably rip it and crack it. It's good strong plastic, but I don't want to go from this to this. I don't want it to be ugly, so we're just going to do it the patient way, and we're going to step this up like 3 times probably. Alright, so I'm going to go up to a 1/4 inch now. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go 1/4 inch. It's just tough for me to get these out of these cases. Bear with me, guys. Seat of my pants here, seat of my pants. Wasn't going to shoot this video. And you can see over here, I don't know if you guys can see, I've got the camera that I bought on eBay, and it's a cheap one. It's nothing special, you know, only a couple $100, but I'm struggling. I gotta try downloading VLC player, I guess. I'm struggling to get it to be able to play on my phone without issues. Okay, so this is a let's see, no, sorry. What did I grab here? Yeah, 1/4 inch, guys. I was gonna say 7/32, and it's not. It's 1/4 inch. Okay, now we're gonna go 1/4 inch. See how that pulled right through, and just, if I would have used that big one, I feel like it wouldn't be able to properly shred that plastic. So, I'm just going to keep stepping it up. Because then it'll just evenly put this hole in the right spot. Really keep it centered. Now, you know what I did just realize? I don't think my 1/2 inch bit fits in this drill. So I might have to use an electric, and I don't have a low speed electric drill. I only have 1 speed. Well, I do, I just don't know where it is. Yeah, I should probably put my calipers away. These are kind of fragile. Not as fragile as some of the Macs, or mic sets, I mean. But it's still only $30, but I still want to protect it. Don't want to break it. We want it to stay accurate. Okay. Now we're going up. I believe this is going to be 7/16. And as I'm looking at my square, I see I'm a little off-centered. I did get a little off-centered, so I'm going to try and correct that with this one. Yeah, okay, you guys can semi-see. Yeah, we're almost there. Now see how the plastic isn't as clean? It's not cutting it as clean. We got frays and stuff, so we'll go in and clean that up. When we're done. I don't think this 1/2 inch fits in here. It might. Oh, it does. Okay, great. So, we're nice and easy with this last one. Switch my speed here. Okay, and the other thing I've been thinking about doing is I gotta see how much space is going to be in here, how this looks, because like I said, we do want to kind of keep this sealed off. So now let's bring our saw over. I haven't tightened this decom valve in, I've just hand snugged it. The other thing I'm worried about too is we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to run it and cut with it and stuff, but I'm concerned that if it's vibrating, this recoil handle does hit that decom valve. So when it's all the way out, if it hits it, even a little bit of variance, boom, you've got air sucking in. And we don't want that for a multitude of reasons. One, it's going to cause the saw to run wrong. But two, long term, it could cause a lean condition and his saw will burn up. So we have to really keep an eye on if this recoil after the top cover. So again, I'm only mentioning these things because if somebody watches this video and they're thinking about doing this, or they have this saw, I'm not super familiar with this 288. I know it's a popular model amongst porters, and I know it's a popular model pro saw, but this is an older 288 to my knowledge, and I don't know all the differences. I was really surprised to see when this first came to my shop that there weren't a decon valve. Okay, and so what I think I'm facing is, even though that's all the way in, I just want to make sure that I am only dealing with catching on the decom valve itself and nothing else. Because if I'm catching on something else, it might be a little difficult. And so there we go. If we angle it that way, we're over the decom valve. That was pretty easy. Okay, we're lined up, we're seated. The other thing I'm going to be doing on this saw, you guys, and if anybody sees this, because I'll try to post this today, because I would like your input. If anybody works on these 288XPs, so basically, like I said, this Tillotson carb, I've looked up every schematic on this, and there's no hole in the case, like the 266 SE, the grommet that the Tillotson carb sits on. There's a hole that grommet sits in, and so that air can flow. If you put a grommet underneath this thing, there's nowhere for air to go. I've thought about making a custom one, but I don't know how much airflow it would need. I have these little grommets that I could technically, you know, notch out a portion of it, and I think that would possibly fit under this carb, but you'd have to put seal all or some kind of Permatex or something to hold it in place, and that's just kind of a patch thing. But when I'll talk to the owner about that, see what ideas we come up with. But if you guys have ideas, I was going to put a gasket, okay? I know where this all sits around the carb box. I was just going to put like a standard cork or paper gasket. I was going to cut it to fit, and it might, again, this is not nothing fancy, and if you've got to take your top cover off, we might have to make another one, but I got plenty of gasket paper, and he lives right around the corner. So, okay, so let's see how this works. I mean, the hole's the perfect size to where I actually wouldn't have to put any kind of grommet, but let's see. Decom valve is in there. Okay. So, yeah, we will have to, I think, increase the size of the hole just a bit, because the decom valve can't be pushed in, and it looks like I only have to go up with it. So because that was the one thing I guess I didn't accommodate for, it was the slope in the cover. The cover slopes up just ever so slightly, and so I really should have been drilling at an angle like this, and then that hole would have been higher. So the bottom's perfect, and could have even been a little snugger to the decom valve, but a little bit of space is good. So we're going to now shave this, and I'm gonna do it little by little here, probably with a round file, and that could take some time. I don't know how to do videos in high speed and stuff, you guys. Let's see, 17 minutes. So I don't know how long my phone will stay paused for, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause while I file a little bit, and we'll see how it goes from there, and hopefully I have time. If not, you guys, smallengineredemption@gmail.com. I'd really like to know what your thoughts are on my ideas, and if you've come up with better ideas, or if you guys know the schematics, if there is supposed to be some kind of grommet under this carb, because the IPLs and the schematics that I'm finding don't show one on the 288 XP, at least not this style. I don't know about other versions, the newer versions. But this one is yeah, the schematics don't match this saw. Every schematic I have, quite exactly. They seem to be a little bit of a newer version, and I sometimes find that. So we're going to pause, I'll file, but if the video ends here, you guys, God bless you. Like, subscribe, please. I would really appreciate your support. Hit that bell notification so you know when I post new videos. And let me know what kind of small engine content or redneck ingenuity or primitive content you guys might be looking for. Okay, let's pause. Okay, guys, so I did a little bit of hand filing, and I'm going to check it again. We'll throw it on here and see how we're looking. I think it's going to be pretty close. Might have to go just a little bit more, and I got to thinking I could probably use that drill at this point. I think it probably would be safe. And you just kind of, I don't know if anybody's ever opened up a hole a little bigger than a drill bit's supposed to be, but you can use the drill bit to shave the plastic, kind of like I'm doing with the file. Okay, so how did we do this earlier? Let's see. Kind of went at a little less of an angle there we had to do, so that's good. Okay, if the cover's tightened down. Look at that, guys. Now, just to be sure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten this cover down real quick. And we'll see, make sure, oops. We'll make sure it works here. With the cover tight. I think the customer's going to be real happy when I mentioned we could do a decon valve because his handle actually broke. Here, I'll show you guys. I like the story that goes with this stuff, you guys. I like to be educational, but I also like to share some of the history on some of the stuff I work on. I think it's kind of fun. And to be honest, I've been very stressed out lately. Got a 441 that I got to completely split the case on. And I don't like doing that. I don't usually split cases. It's not something I do. I don't have fun with it. It's my saw, but I paid a lot of money in it, and I've got 500 tied up into it. And I don't have a case splitter. There's ways to make tools, but I don't have the ways to make tools. That's how I usually do it. I just make my own stuff, but I don't have a big shop like I used to. So anyways, he broke the rear handle trying to, and yes, this had the supports on it. They're now on the other handle because the $170 handle we paid for didn't come with a tank. It didn't come with any AV mounts. It didn't come with all it came with was the trigger. It came with what you see here, but no gas cap. And so I had to take the other stuff off of this handle, only one I could find. But anyways, he broke it, stepping on it, and you can see actually how bad it is now that they're separated. It had broke back here and over here. And so I told him I can't even, this is before the decom valve. If it had a decom valve, I probably would have duct taped it for him because, you know, he didn't mind a duct taped handle, but I mean, this thing is just bad. And I don't mind doing that for people, you guys. We're not all made of money. These are my neighbors. These are my friends. The people that are here locally, I will do a lot of things I wouldn't normally do. I'll sand a cylinder for hours and hours. If they just need their saw for their farm and it's the only saw they got and they don't have a lot of money, I'm not going to sit here and charge them all kinds of money to try and save their saw. Now, other guys, they have the money, but it's also like, you know, it's just how far are we each willing to go to try and make the situation work for everybody. And I think if more businesses cared less about money and more about helping people, you know, you guys, our country wouldn't be as, excuse my French, but chitty as it is. The world's full of chit people, and I'm one of them too, but I'm just trying to love people. We're all, none of us are good, Jesus said. There's none righteous among you, no, not one. So, but yeah, just try and treat each other good. Do it in your business too. It's not, you know, I know I'm not an official business, but I still am offering a service. And that's why I like to barter a lot. I'm not big on money. I need it, but okay, I'm just gonna tighten these tools down. I have arthritis, so I do use, just I didn't feel like changing to the bigger bit, the bigger flathead that comes with this. So it's catching a little bit there on that one because I can't get a straight angle. Alright, probably should have snugged this one a little bit before I tightened both of those down that far. But that's cool. Okay, so let's do this. Oh yeah, I think that handle, that's real nice. I don't think that handle hitting it. Yeah, see, and that's why I wanted to tighten them down. We do have to shave a little bit more. Not much, but a little bit. So it is catching now that we've tightened the cover down. It'll pull out, but it's tight. And then it's even tighter to push in. But let's see. I think once we finish it up, the recoil is probably going to be okay. I'm going to pause you guys again. We're going to try and keep this video under 30 minutes. And I'm going to take a little bit more. This time I'm probably going to use the drill bit. But I'm going to pause you because I got to pull the cover. Okay, so basically what I was saying earlier is I should have been drilling like this the whole time. And I only want to do a little bit at a time because I don't want to take too much. So I'm just kind of putting pressure up where and over wherever I want to increase the size of the hole here. What is now an oval. Okay, let's check it, guys. It's an oval now. It's not quite a circle. I guess you can't see on the... I can't quite see it look like an oval, but it looks kind of semi like an oval. All right, but you know what? This is what the customer wants. He wants to be able to start a saw without killing himself. And this thing is a monstrous beast, you guys. This is a 288 XP. It's no joke. You get decrepit and old like us, start having injuries in your bodies. You don't care if somebody calls you a wuss for having a decom valve. I use decom valve on 60cc saws if they're on there. I know a guy's got a 441. I never use decom valve. Yeah, that Elasta start's nice, but I still like the decom valve because the less jerking motion I have to do on a saw to start it, the less I have to hurt my nerve damaged body, the better. So here we go. Once again, get our top cover just angled on there just right. And we are going to pause you guys while I put the screws down. Okay guys, I've tightened the cover. It's tightened all the way. I'm not 100% satisfied with the shaping here. And I did, I guess, get a little bit impatient. You guys can't see it as good as I can, so that's great. But that's me being OCD too a little bit. The customer's going to be so happy. I know he is. I already know. I know this guy. He's just a really nice guy. He really is. Shout out to Andy. I'm going to send him a link to this video. Andy, thanks for trusting me with your equipment. And I hope you don't mind me mentioning you on the YouTube here, on the YouTubey booby. Okay, so now our decom valve is perfectly functional. I can see it touching just a shave over here, but we have to remove this cover again. And so I'm going to use a razor blade just to open that up on this side just a little bit more to be safe. And then what I was thinking about doing, because I do see there's a lot of space in there, I think I'm going to put add a shield back here. Now the flywheel can still push its air, and that would actually help increase the airflow to the carb area from the flywheel, which there needs to be. But I think I'll put a shield to help protect from any chips or anything that do get worked into this hole from flying back there. And my idea for that is, sometimes you got to be creative, you guys. I'm not always the most creative person in the world, but I do understand the concept of the dust and airflow on a saw if I have it in front of me and can look at it, how it's designed. And so I picked up this JB. I was looking for plastic weld because I've got to fix a guy's gas tank. And so I was looking for the fuel resistant plastic weld. They do make one, but they were out of stock. And so I picked up this plastic bonder by JB Weld and was reading what it can do. And it can fill holes in plastic and stuff, but it can also bond all kinds of different materials, a permanent adherence together. So like super glue for industrial purpose, I suppose, but it's also a plastic basically. And so I thought I might try that to just take some, you know, I got rubber sheet over here. I'm not going to pick up the whole roll, but that I use for gasket stuff. This is 1/8 inch thick, and plan on forming a flange, right? And then I've got tiny machine screws even too. I just don't want to screw into the cover, but I can screw into a flange, and then essentially just have this rubber down in there like that, and it'll be free, so so it can move this way, but it'll be in there to protect stuff from flowing back. That's the idea anyways. Don't know if I'm going to go that far yet, but I would like to. We'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, you guys, and that's how we installed a decom valve in a 288 XP that does not have a top cover set up for one. Or you can just buy a new top cover, up to you guys. I don't know if they make one for this particular setup, but the saw was set up for a decom valve, and I've seen the 288 with a decom valve. I just don't know where it's located usually. So that's it, you guys. Okay, thanks so much for watching. God bless you.